Hey everybody, I see here. Let's talk about the Department of Education. Time to shut it down. Jimmy Carter created it. Look at all the other things Jimmy Carter did that just totally screwed up. Gave the Philippines back to the Filipinos. I got no problem with that. But he gave the Panama Canal back to Panama for a whole dollar. That was foolish beyond measure. But let's get back to the Department of Education. The Department of Education, since its inception to today, we have gone from a nation being ranked around number one to, depending upon which chart you look at, we are, if it's a like U.S. News and World Report, we are like number 3, okay? Because they got to keep the U.S. up there looking good. But in reality, we're kind of like closer to number 37. The average is 13. So say to yourself this: how can we be so low? It's simple. Because teachers don't teach curriculum. They teach social values, gender assignments. None of that applies to your education. You should learn math, English, definitely. Maybe Spanish, if you want to take a second language, but you have to know English. And that means reading and writing English. Kids today, half of them can't do it. You definitely can't read cursive. It's like a dead language for you people. Science. You need to know the basics of science, which is biology. There are 2 genders, male, female, okay? You could play word games all you want. But even a 7-year-old girl knows the difference between a male and a female by just looking at the skeletal structure. Females are designed to give birth, so their pelvises are shaped differently. So, biology, definitely you need to know. And history. Why history? If you don't learn history, it will repeat itself and you'll wind up screwing yourself all over again. Nobody wants to learn from history because they think, it'll never happen again. But it does. History repeats itself repeatedly. Good example. Just so you think I'm an old man, think I don't know squat. Okay, well, let's try this one. Shoes. High heels were invented. Why? Because back in the day, people would throw human feces and urine out into the streets, as well as animal feces, animal urine. So shoes were designed so that people didn't have to slog through them. So men even wore high heels back then. Okay? Now high heels are coming back in again for men. Platform shoes from the 70s, everything repeats itself. So, you need to teach history. You need to teach values. Okay? And I mean values. It's a good example in regards to history. If you don't know your own state, you don't know where your state capital is, then how can you explain to someone where you're from if you're in another country? And here's the kicker. People in other countries are more intelligent than Americans are today. I've spoken to kids from the Philippines, considered a third world country. They're more educated, more politically savvy than our own kids are in this country. I've spoken to people from Europe. Good example, Iceland. The average Icelandic speaks 3 languages. Okay? The average. The United States, the kids today, half the time you can't even understand what they're trying to say, and they're supposedly speaking English. So, you definitely have to get rid of the Department of Education. You have to go ahead and bring it back to the states, and that'll allow the states to tailor the education for their population. You need to bring back trade schools because not every child is smart enough to go to college. Actually, even going to college doesn't mean you're smart, you know. Just if you're a lawyer and your air conditioner at your office building breaks, I don't see you going out there to fix it. You're going to hire an air conditioning specialist who's generally just a high school graduate who took a trade school, and he fixes it for you. Same thing. If you're a pilot, airplane breaks, pilot don't fix it. Pilot goes out and the mechanics fix it, and they're all high school grads. So, college is not for everybody, okay? College is for specifics. And face facts. A degree in gender studies don't mean squat. All right, so President Trump's doing the right thing. Let's shut down the Department of Education. And as for these loudmouth Democrats that are screaming and hollering about it being offensive towards the kids, where were they when Jimmy Carter created the Department of Education and he started screwing over the kids? Remember, we used to be ranked number 1. Now we're down so low. Hell, Indonesia and Malaysia are better educated than people in the United States. Icy out.